Good afternoon. Stacy Marcel here, arborist extraordinaire, here with my trusty co-pilot Kate Odell. This afternoon we wanted to talk to you a little bit about winter shrub care and the thing that's often overlooked in the garden but can be of the most use to your woody shrubs. We have a little pruning mantra that we use. It's called spring and summer shape, fall and winter rejuvenate. So it's winter, shrubs are dormant, and if you can see here from this Shasta viburnum and this oak leaf hydrangea, they're asleep, but in desperate need of pruning. The type of pruning that you wouldn't give them during the growth season. So what I want to do first is go over the tools that are going to be the best for the project to make it efficient and successful. So I'm going to let Kate talk to you about the tools we brought today and what we're going to use to go ahead and take care of this.
We'll start off small with the smaller tools that are really going to be your most useful ones. Number one, most important, is a good pair of hand pruners. We want to make sure that they are sharp so that when you make cuts, you're making clean cuts. You're not crushing any plant tissue. So that's when you get damage and can start to hurt the plant. So making sure that these are in good working order is very important. The next thing, here you go, next.
You have two kinds, I think.
Two kinds, two different sizes, is a handsaw. Really, first off, you'll start big when you're pruning, so you'll start with your handsaw. Again, a lot of these come with replaceable blades. You can sharpen them, but it's better worth your time to just buy a new blade. So there's a small one for getting in smaller areas when you don't have a lot of room to really pull back and forth, and then a larger one like that. And these come in all different shapes and sizes, different qualities as well. So it's good to invest in a really good handsaw. And even though the blades might be more expensive, it's going to be a lot easier for you to cut through things with a nice blade and a nice handsaw rather than a crappy one.
So you hear her keep repeating this theme. Sharp tools do a better job. Dull tools, damage to the plants.
Yes. Another thing with that, with saws, don't use like a jigsaw or like a carpenter wood saw. All of these are specifically for pruning plants, and we want to use the right tool for the right job. Not only is it going to be easier for you, it's going to be better for the plants.
Absolutely. What do you got there now?
Now
What's
we're going
this?
on to the loppers. So this is a bypass lopper. You can see it was pretty hard to open, but you can see that there's sort of a mechanism in here so that triples the power that I put into this down on to whatever you're pruning. So you can cut things that are pretty big with this.
Up to like 2-inch limbs?
Up to 2 inch,
with
yeah.
your own arm power.
Yes, so it's still hard, but you really get a lot of bang for your buck with one of these. Next thing is a regular pair of loppers. These, usually, it's the rule of thumb, so nothing bigger than your thumb you're going to get through with a pair of loppers. You can see these, they're not in the best shape, but we just sharpened these, we just derusted them, oiled them, did the whole thing to them. So these should work pretty well.
Okay.
And the last
What's
thing,
that you got there now?
this is a pole extension. We have a few options that we can use with this. You can see up here there's sort of a tab. So we have the pole pruner head, which is sort of like the hand pruners, except it goes up here. We click that in, this string comes out, and then we can reach pretty far to prune with this. So it's really great for the tops of shrubs or things we can't reach.
Makes you be able to stay on the ground without having to use a ladder for a lot of tasks, which if you can eliminate a ladder from what you're doing, it's so much safer.
Especially if you're alone.
So,
and the other attachment, which we really won't use today, it's more for trees. So it's a pole saw extension. So yeah, again, it just comes right into there.
it's like a handsaw on a stick, right?
It's on a stick.
It comes in a cool scabbard.
So you can reach a lot of things that you wouldn't normally be able to reach. They're pretty nifty.
All right, so get the tools together, and next we're going to show you what you do with your shrubs in the winter. One of the first things that you want to eliminate from anything that you're pruning is any of the wood that's dead. There is a win-win-win when you remove dead from a tree or shrub. That's what the insects, the bacteria, and the fungus feed on. So if you eliminate the food source, right? For the bad guys, the tree is going to be able to focus, or the shrub is going to be able to focus on healthy growth. So that's just another branch that's laying in there. Now you can tell something that's dead in the winter because it doesn't have these nice swollen buds that your live viable tissue will have. So this here, we can chase this all the way back. See how it's just snapping? There's nothing of vitality in that branch. And if you follow it all the way in, you can see that it's dead. Back to the main stem. So here, the hand pruners will get through this. You might want to use a lopper because it's almost a 1/2 inch big. So we start by going in there and getting out all the dead pieces. After you go through and you thoroughly work through all the dead, Kate, what do you think is the next thing that you would do?
We'd start to look at some of the bigger stuff we have in there and identify canes that are overgrown and might not be great for the plant. They might be sinks of energy resources.
So, just like human beings, the older you get, the less productive you are. So the rule of thumb on a woody shrub is every year to remove 1/3 of the oldest, woodiest canes. So you go in here, and out of the dozen oldest, woodiest canes, you know, I can identify, do you agree, Kate, that this one here,
Yeah.
could be eliminated all the way back at the base. It's the oldest, most non-productive piece of the plant. And it takes practice. You know, it's a little bit scary to make big cuts like this on a shrub, but ultimately, if they're a good, healthy shrub, they're gonna overcome even a mistake or two. But once you've cut that down there, you're gonna get from the base younger, woodier canes that shoot up from the site of where you pruned that out. So for long health and vitality in a shrub, if you're removing the older pieces, that's going to force the shrub to send out younger, tender, more herbaceous shoots that are going to produce more prolific flowers and just keep your shrub living longer.
A lot of this lower stuff is dead. So a lot, this is still alive, but over by here, sort of this lowest tier, a lot is dead, and that's actually a side effect of this getting overgrown. As during the growing season, as the rest of the plant that's gotten so big is getting all the sunlight and all of the air and all of that, these lower branches, they're not very productive anymore because they got covered up. So any leaves down there that the plant is investing a lot of energy into aren't that productive. And the plant knows that. So it's not gonna continue to invest in these lower branches that give you that really full bush. It'll start to kill them off. And that's what we're seeing.
So, and now you can see the difference. Too, you can tell in the color of the bark. The older bark is darker, and the younger tender shoots that you're looking to promote are much lighter in color. So hopefully we'll get more sprouting like this now in the spring after we've eliminated all of the dead stuff. So here's more unproductive tissue. And if you're not sure if something's dead, you can always go ahead and just try to bend it a little bit. If it's dead, it'll snap right off. See this? It's alive, it's not snapping, it's crispy, those buds are swollen, ready to open up in a few weeks.
Another tip, if you're not sure if it's still bending, you can take your fingernail, and I have gloves on, and you can just scratch off a little bit of the bark. If it's green, it's still alive. If it's brown, then it's dead.
Big part of pruning is standing back and looking at your work. Get out of the bush, stand back, see the cuts that you've already made, and identify what's next. This here, now we're talking about thinning, and we made that one really big cut in the middle. And that alone freed it up a lot. It eliminated a lot of what we call crossing and rubbing branches. That one big piece in the middle was rubbing across more dead wood. Here, here, here. And what happens is you begin to get decay when branches rub against each other. So as much as possible, you want to promote scaffold branches that don't rub and rot against each other. So that removing that piece, really beneficial in many, many ways for this shrub. So as we stand back and look, I asked Kate, I think there's one more big piece that should come out of the middle of this, and that'll do it for the thinning. So I just want to see if great minds think alike, because I know what it is, so I want her to go and show me which one she thinks it is, and we'll see just how smart she is. Let's see. Which one is it, Kate?
Okay, so in my opinion, I would go after this big guy in the middle.
And why? Tell me why your thought process on removing that one.
Well, it's out of what is left, it is definitely the largest. It does also have quite a few rubbing crossing branches. And also it's contributing a lot to the height of this plant. I think it would really do better if we removed it and get more of a lower, fuller shrub.
So we're going to get some shaping out of the deal, as well as rejuvenating and eliminating crossing and rubbing branches. So by making one cut at the base, we're going to save ourselves a whole bunch of small little cuts.
Yes.
And it's okay when you're learning to make small little cuts, and through doing that, you'll start to figure out how to make your workload lighter by making bigger initial cuts to accomplish the same things. And I'm going to work on a little bit of shaping, and it's important to see here pruning cuts and how they should be made. So ideally you want to make any heading cuts at a point where you have another branch, which we call a lateral or a side branch, and you want to cut that as close to that union as you can. You don't want to leave what we call a stub, because that will die and rot and cause decay to go back into the branch that you removed it from. Here, it crosses and it rubs here, and it shoots through the center and it crosses and rubs there. So I'm going to follow that back to the best place to cut it, and I'm going to arrange myself to get the best pruning angle possible. Now again, I'm going to get myself in position, get that in there at a 45-degree angle to where I'm cutting from, and eliminate the offending piece. The best pruning job, when completed, should look like it was never pruned at all. This is a little artistic advice, because pruning is an art and a science. When well blended, you end up with amazing looking shrubs with a lot of health and vitality. So it is worth every penny of your time or money to pay professionals to do this for you. We all like to look in the summer and have really well manicured, evenly shaped shrubs, but it's important to get into the inside and the guts and make sure that they're healthy from the inside out.